terminology today. So what we call like methods, variables. Because if we saw like last time we saw like what is the data members, what is the object, what are the classes we have actually, right? So today we'll write some program, but before that we'll understand like what is, I mean, if you talk about the variables, and if I say variable, that means it could be a primitive variable or non-primitive variable. So we'll discuss all this actually, what is the primitive, what non-primitive. If you talk about the objects, so in objects what it will be there, so all these things we'll discuss. We'll write a simple program today and we'll understand like okay, let's say if you are creating methods, so how method will help us when we'll create. If suppose we create a method, so what kind of methods we'll be having, like let's say we have a method which will not return any value, and we also have a method which will return a value. So we'll discuss all this and we'll see like if suppose we implement all this in our program, how it will work. All right, so we'll go one by one. And all right, so this is what we have for today. So we'll see what we will able to cover today. So we'll be covering our let me see. So we'll be covering this one, the first one. We'll be covering object, we'll be covering data members. When we say data member, it will be like variable. We will sometime we will say like variables and data member, both are same thing. So in that we'll be discussing like what is the instance variable, what is the local variable, and what are the reference variable. Okay, then we'll be seeing what is the method. In method, last time we discussed that method can be a user defined method and as well as a inbuilt method. So inbuilt method is like a method which already written, already we are getting all that methods from Java. So that method will be, we don't have to do anything, we have to just call that method and use for our purpose. All right, so Vishal is joining. All right, so this is how we will do, and then we will go with our if else condition, switch case, while loop, for loop, do while loop, array, and all that. So let's start it. So what we're gonna do, before, let me start my Eclipse, and then we'll go one by one actually from there. So here, okay, when I say a data member, so let me complete it first. When we say data member or variable, there are two kind of variable we have. First one is a primitive and another one is a reference variable. Okay, so when I say primitive, so what is primitive? So primitive variable is a variable which is given by the Java, which we are not creating. So these are the variable, like you can say integer, long, float, double, character, boolean. So all this is my data type. Okay, so this is my data type, data member, variable are all are same thing actually. So here when I say integer, integer will only hold the value which is not having a decimal. So there's no decimal we have in that. All right, let me do that. So we don't have any decimal number in that, decimal point or anything we don't have in integer. When we say long, so in long we will be having that long variable, we can store that long. So let's say if you are working in a bank, and I know, I mean, like when we work in bank, right? So we'll be having a large number of amount, right? So you cannot hold that large number in integer. So integer can have only this much number. You can see on my screen. So if suppose we are talking about just class, or let's say if we are writing a program for limited number of people, right? Or limited number of amount, we can go with the integer. But when we see that, okay, we will be having large number or large number of amount actually, then we'll be using a long in this case. If suppose you want to deal with the point decimal, so let's say amount could be in decimal, right? So 2.60 cents or 70 cents. In this case, we'll be holding our data into float. Okay, but again, let's say I have a very big number and also I'm having a decimal in that as well. So we'll be using double. So float will be, it will not that long, but if you talk about the double, it will be too long. We will able to handle too long value in that double data type. So these are a data type for me. So in double, it will be decimal plus long value we can handle. In float, it will be okay. In this float, it will be a decimal, but the number will be very small actually. We cannot store long number in that. In long, we can store a long number, but there will not be any decimal in that. And if you talk about the integer, we will be able to store only a small number in that. All right. And Boolean is just like, true and false. Suppose if you talk about the if else condition, right? So if it is true, then it will go to that branch. If it is false, then it will go to that branch. So true and false will be stored in a Boolean data type. And there is one more, which is character. Okay. So when you talk about the character, yes. So until unless you will not use this al and af suffix, it will not consider as a float. And if you see in long, if you will not use al, it will not consider as a long data type. So you need to put al for that. But for integer, for double, you don't need to put that actually. But whenever you are using float and long, you have to put suffix as a f or l. Then it will treat as a long. Otherwise, it will not treat as a. So let me just go to my Eclipse. Let's try something here. So let me do one thing. Let me try to create one class here. So let's say this is my class, and it is this one. I can say I'm just creating a data type. There's one class I'm creating. You can give any name to this. And there's one more thing here. If you want to check this one, you can check from here. This is a main method. So your program will start from a main method. So even if you want to click on this, it will come as soon as you will create your class. So if I say class, and let me remove this one from here. So now here you can see this main method is coming because I have checked that option there, and that's why it's coming. Even if you don't want, if suppose you didn't check that, right, at the time of creating your class, you can say one thing here. So you can say main, and you can give control and space bar. You can click, you can paste control and space bars together, and it will give you option, and you can select from there. All right. So this is how you can do. You can create your main method directly when you are creating your class. Or if you are suppose want to create your main, you want to have your main method. After that, you can directly write main and control and space bar. If you paste together, it will come and it will give you option like main method, and you can click on that and it will be selected. One more thing here. So when I say when you are working on this Java, whatever you will be writing before this main, it will not gonna work. So your program will start from here. From this, whatever you will be writing under this brackets, curly brackets, and under this curly brackets, that will be executed. That will run. If you're writing something, about this main method, yes, it will not work. Actually, it will not work. It will not print. It will not perform any operation. But here we can have our data type here. So let's say if I want to have a data type is a main or something, I can have it here. So data type method, user defined method, not a inbuilt method. This is the inbuilt method. This method we are getting from Java. So whenever you want to create a method, you can create method outside of this main method. So suppose I want to create one method, public, and I want to say void. Let's say void and display. Display name you can give anything here, so there's no issue. So this method is created by me. Actually, I can give any name to this one, but I cannot change this name. If I give this name, so it will not consider as a main method. Your program will not run actually. So to run your program, it should be a proper main method actually, and then it will work. So other than that, if you give some other name, it will accept. But your program will not run under this. If you write something here, it will not run. If you want to run, it will be a main method. Okay, so this is my user defined because I can give any name to this and it will work for me. I have to just simply call this actually. So I can give any name here. So right now I'm just giving a display. You can give any name, and I'll be writing all my code under this in this curly brackets. Okay, and here I'll be writing all the codes under this curly brackets. Right. So this is the extra curly braces I'm having. So I'll remove that and my error will be gone. So now there's no issue here. When I say data member, so this is my integer. Okay, I can also create long here, which will have a long value. I can say J, and I can give some name number here, right? Done. Also, I can create a boolean. So I can create boolean, and I can say A equal to 2 and false. I can give because we saw there. Okay, same as we can float also we can have here. So I can say K, and I can give something here. Let me give the number here, and we can say comma. All right. So here, when I create all this data member, okay. So what I have to do here? Let's say this is my integer. Let me try to increase my number here. See, I'm getting error here now. I cannot have that long number here. Okay, but if I talk about this one long, I can have a limited number here. If I'm talking about the integer, this is what I said last time. So if I have a less number, it will work fine. But if I have a long number, I have to use this data type, long data type. And if suppose I write something here, still I'm getting an error here. This is long, but still I'm getting error because I didn't put the suffix here. Now error is gone. So just have a long data type, I have to put this L here. Otherwise, it will consider as an integer and it will give you error. This is what it's happening here. If I'm not putting L, it's considered as an integer. And integer, I know we cannot have a long digit actually there. So we'll be putting L there. Don't worry about it. When it will be run, it will check only this one, this part. It will not consider as L part. Whenever you will be using this J, it will be for this value. This L is just to mention that we are using a long data type. Same as if you give something else here, it will give you error because see, it can accept only true and false. So this data type will have only just true and false. Suppose dot, we know that we have to use a dot or decimal. So if I say, let me write long number here, it will give you error. Now, if I come to my image here, I have used a F here as a suffix. So what I can do here, I can use F here. Okay. So I have used F here, and so this one, even in this case, so let's say, I mean, when you write a program, right, you will definitely know that, okay, let's say you are dealing with the amount, or you want to deal with a population, right? It will be a big amount, right? You have a lots of number there, right? So you have to consider that, if you are just, if you really want to work with very limited number, then you have to use integer. And if you really want to work with a very long number, actually, then you have to use long as a data type. So integer is very for small actually. Suppose you know that you have to handle only just 1,000, 10,000, or 1 lakh or 10 lakh something data. Then you can use for. So when we will write our program, right? For your understanding, just I'm telling you that if you want to deal with the small number, you have to use integer. For long, you want to handle a long number, I mean like very big number, then you have to use long. If you want to handle only just true and false, you have to use just a boolean, and then float will be for a decimal. And if I put here decimal, it will give you error because this is the integer. I cannot use decimal point here in integer. So this is the thumb rule actually. This is the rule defined by the Java. So we cannot do anything in that actually. So whatever they have defined in Java document, we have to use it as it is. All right. So this is for our understanding that, okay, so if you are dealing with integer, long, boolean, float, and all that. So these are the data type. And again, so what I'm telling you here is like, whatever the data type is defined by a Java, those variable will be called as a primitive variable. Okay. So when I'll write something and I will ask you that, okay, we have to define or we have to declare a primitive variable, then in your mind, this all the data types should come in your mind actually. Okay, when I say reference variable, so reference variable is a variable which I can create or I can make it actually. So let's say, let me come here actually. So I'll just give you a simple example just now. So this is all the data member I have defined here. And suppose you want to make your code more readable. So what you to do, this is the practice. You have to use the comment. So if you use /, this will be a commented, and it will say it will not execute actually. It will not impact anything actually. Suppose if you are using a comment there, so this is the one line comment. So if you use it, it will not execute. It will just for let's say if in your team there are 10 members are working and they are not sure what is this integer and what is long. So you can give us just description that integer only hold a small number. So our program will run only this one. This is just to give them an idea, okay, this we have given, just we are commenting actually. So it will not run actually. So this is for other people reference actually. Okay, what is about integer, what is about long, what is about boolean and all that. All right. So you can use comment here. So we have used the word /, and it will be only used for commenting. If we want to give some comment there to make it more readable and all that, so we can use it to /. There. Now this is my primitive. Okay, it is done. Now let's say what is the reference variable. So reference variable is just suppose I want to access this integer. I want to access this integer, or I want, because see, let's say, let me just do one thing. All right, this one and this one. All right, fine. So this is there, and I'm writing one more. I'll explain you what I'm doing here. So this is system.out.println. Okay, this is only just to print your thing on console. Okay, this is my console. This is my project, all the project which I'm working on. This is the console where I'll see the output. Okay, so this is the output. All right, so now if I say here we have used I, so I'll be saying I here. Okay, now suppose I want to run it. Let me run it actually. I'll tell you what we'll see here. So if I run this, you will not see anything here, because see, I didn't write anything here in this main. Until and unless you will not write anything in this main, that thing will not be printed. It will not work. Even you have written so many things above than this, the main method actually. So what we did, we created one method, which is user defined method, because I can have any name here. If I just want to have this only, I can have this. There's no issue. This is the user defined. I cannot change this one. Make sure if you will change this one, it will not consider as a main method. So main method is the method from your program will execute. So here I didn't write anything, and that's why it's not printing anything here. Even I have written this statement here that system.out.println I. Ideally, it should print the value of this one, because this I is holding this value. But it's not printing because I didn't mention anything here. So now what to do? So to access, last time we discussed that, okay, what is object? So in object, what we do to access the data member, to access the method, we use a object. Now, this is the thing here, that this is the data member I'm having here, and this is the method I'm having here. So I want to access them. I want to access them, and I want to print the value of I, and I is holding this value. So how I can print this actually? So for that, we have to create an object. All right. So let's create one object here. So object, when we say creating object, so we have a class name, data type. Okay. So we'll create an object of class. Always we create an object of class. So we'll just copy the class name, which is this one. And we'll be putting that class name here under a main method. because I want to access this data member and method. So I have to write something here in main method, because if I will not write anything here in main method, it will not execute. It will not run actually. Your program running from here. All right. So this is the, so I have to create an object of my class name, which is a data type. So I will just copy here. And now I will give a one variable here. So let's say you can give R, you can give obj, you can give rs, you can give any name actually. Okay, so I'm just giving a name as a obj. I need something, right? So this is just okay, or I can say this is Ravi sir. So this is an object for me. I can give any name here. Now still my object is not yet created. What I have to do, create the object, and through this person I want to access other people. So this is Jayesh. I want to access Jayesh, but I will be I will get the help from Ravi, and then I will able to access this variable actually. So what I can do here, I will say data type Ravi, and I will say new. Again, I will say data type, and this one. So this part call as a creating an object. When you are using a new keyword, then your object will be created. So this is an object. So now if I say I can write any name here. So what does it mean actually? So this is variable for me, but I can give any name here. So this is a reference variable for me. Reference variable is a not defined in Java. I can give any name here. So this is a primitive which is defined in Java. I cannot change it. If I will give any t, it will give you error, which is an integer. I have to use only integer. If I'm using long, it will be long. So I cannot change anything here, but I can give any name here. And now this is my object. I have created object, and this is my reference variable. And using a reference variable, I can access any method or any data type. So let's say I want to print this value. Okay, so what I can do, I will simply say system.out.println. This is for printing where? On console. So I want to print this value. Okay, so simply I will be just copying Ravi and dot. I can see all the data type you can see here, whatever you have defined here. Okay, so I just want to access I, which is I here. I will just say this, it will show you that integer, that this is the integer and this is the integer I have here. J is a long, so J is a long here. If I have Boolean, so Boolean is also A here. So I can see all my data type here. Also, I can see my method as well. So let's say I want to see the method. So method is also this is the void. This I have created here. And apart from this, you will see some other method as well, which is defined by the Java. But you will see your user defined variable, user defined method, and also some method which is already by default, which we have in Java. You will see those method as well here. But I want to deal with my data type. So this is the data type. See, you can see this is the data type. And so what I'm gonna do, I will just say I. Fine. And if I run this, let me run it now. See, this is printing now because this is there in a main method. If you say why we can't use directly I, we cannot use. See, if I say system.out.println, and if I say only just I, it will give you error here. Because we need this object actually. This is reference number. I need this reference variable number. I need this reference variable actually to access any data type or method. If I want to access this one, let's say I want to access this method as well. So method is here. So if I want to access this one, I can say, see, let me come and let me see the error here. So what is saying? It's a cannot make a static reference to non-static field I. So what is saying? So it's saying that you cannot, first of all, you cannot access I because you are not using object here. Here we are using object. Okay. So this is reference variable we are using here, and that's why we are able to access this I. But here we are not using, and that's why it's giving you error here. See, it will give you error here. So what we can do here? line 18 line, this one. Yes, we need this 18 line. We need this 18 line to access our data type or method. There's one more method actually. I will tell you that how we can access that without creating object as well. Okay, but for now I'm telling you the importance of object. So you have to use a reference variable to access data type and method. All right, let's say now we have just called our data type. Now I want to call my method as well. All right, so method is like, let's say what I can do here. Let me remove this. I'll say system.out.println. Okay, out.println. Now I'll be using my reference variable. I will be copying here. Right, and now I will say my method name. This is my method name. So here, let's see what is saying. It's giving you error. Okay, println. No. All right. So this is what we are printing here. All right. So let me do one thing. So it's holding this one. It's supposed not. Okay, fine. No. So what we can do actually, instead of this one as well, we can say we can give Ravi dot. It will work. Why? Because see, we don't need to do this print statement. Why? Because already we have given the print statement. It will not already inside it. So as soon as I will be using a reference variable and I will give the method name, whatever you are having under this method, it will be printed. So let's say I want to run now. So what I can do, I can run it now. Okay, see, first time it's printing for this one, first line, and second time it's printing again for this line, because see, in method we are holding a I, and I is having this value. Let's say if I want to change it to J. So now J is belong, whenever we'll be running our program, this system.out.println is holding a value of J. So this value should be printed. All right, let's run now. See, I said this L will not be there actually, because this is only just suffix to just tell our program that this is the long data type we are using here. So only till here it will print it. So we can call our method, we can call our data type. All right. Now you said without this 18 line, can't we access or not? We can access, but let me tell you here. So let me do one thing here. I will just uncomment this. I don't want to create my object. So I commented this actually. Now it will not work. It's like, disable for me actually. So now as soon as I will disable it, it will give you error because this will not gonna work already. It's out of scope. Now I have this I. Now it's saying I is change I to static. Okay, change I to static. This is what is saying is that this main method is having something here, one thing here is which is a static keyword. Okay, can you see anything we have mentioned here? Static. This is non-static, and this method is a static. So we cannot call any data variable, data type, okay, in this main method if that is not a static. So this is not a static, non-static, and this is the static. Okay, so to access this data type in my main method, I have to make them static. Okay, so if I make my this data type or method static, I can directly call that methods and data type in my main method. Because the see here and here is different actually. We are using just integer. We are using just public void and all this actually, which is not a static. I didn't use this keyword static, but I want to access. So what I can do before this integer, I can say static. Now error is gone. No issue. You can access this I and you can print this I without object as well. So this is static and this is static. It will work for you. Here as well, you can say static keyword. You can use static keyword. And all right, so let me just, or I will just print here hello. That's it. Leave it. Why we were getting error here? Because see, we were using this J there. J is not a static. Under a static, we have to use the static variable or data type. Okay, so that's why I'm just printing hello here. So this is static, this is static, and now this data type is also static. This is not a static actually. This is non-static for me. Okay, so as soon as I will use a static keyword, then it will become a static data type. So if I want to print, I can print it right away. See, it's printing. If I want to access my this method, right? This method is now static. I don't need to create object. What I can do, I can directly copy and paste, and I can say that's it, done. My method name, I will just copy and paste my method name there, and it will work for me. There's no need to create any object now. See, it will work for you. Hello will be printed here because see, we have written hello here in this method. All right. So this is how it works. All right. So now you are clear with the primitive variable and reference variable. Whatever we'll be creating by our own, that will be a reference variable, and whatever we'll be getting from Java, that will be a primitive variable. It could be anything. It could be double, character, boolean, float, long, integer, all this. And all these are the variable which is having a different size of, let's say integer having different amount can handle. I can handle different amount, and some for decimal, some for true and false, some are for long actually. Okay, so here, even if you see this example, it's clearly mentioned here that primitive data type are defined by the programming language. So that's why I'm saying this is the defined in the Java language. Okay, done. Integer, float, character, boolean, or a primitive. Non-primitive is a reference variable actually. Non-primitive, reference variable, both are same thing. Okay, data type are defined by the programmer, because see, I'm the programmer. Whatever I want to give any name, I can give any name there actually. So this is the defined by the programmer. In this data type of the variable of is the class whose object is going to refer. Let's say here, test is my class name. T, I can do T, R, V, W, S, I can give anything there. And I will create object using a new keyword, new, and then I will give again the class name. And that's it. So this is my non-primitive. Okay, so non-primitive and primitive is clear now. And also we have created object, and this part is also, I think it's clear. There should not be any issue, I guess. And here, how we can create the object? We already created an object here. So we use a new word, and we just give the name of this class name new. As soon as you will write new before class name, your object will be created, but you have to store somewhere, right? So that's why you will be using this T as a reference variable to store that object. So T is a reference variable which will be holding your object. Okay, so here as well, just like we are holding this variable in I, holding this this value in this J, we are holding this value in K. So same as this object will be held by a T, A, R, F, S, whatever it is actually. So it will be held by this one actually. So now the question will come, okay, how many objects we can create? Because in Java or in object-oriented programming language, we always deal with a object, right? So there should be a limit, right? There should be a limit that, okay, we can create only just 10 objects, or so there's no here. So let's say if I want to create object here, so I will say data type, this is my class name, and I will say T, and I will say data type, and this one, my one object is created, and who is holding my object? This T as a reference variable. Now if I want to create, I can create multiple, and I can give different name, or whatever it is. I can give different name to all this. I can create multiple object. This is the object I'm creating here, right? Now I want to see the limitation, how many object I can create. So I'm just removing actually this, okay, and all right, leave it there. All right, so what I can do, I'll be using one for loop. I'll explain you for loop and all that later, but just to show you that how many objects we can create, I'll be just writing, I'll be just using a for loop to just show you that how many we can create. So I will say for loop. Okay, I will explain you later when we'll be covering all if else condition, switch, or while loop and all that. So here I will say integer a is a value, variable I'm using here. Okay, it's k, and I'll say plus. Okay, just a minute. So it's a a plus. All right. So this is my for loop. I didn't give any condition here between these two semicolon actually. So I didn't use anything here. I can give some condition here as well, but I didn't give any condition here as of now. So what I have to do, let me just, it's same, right? All right. So teacher, okay, I will give the a start from 0. Okay. So I want to start my variable from 0, but I didn't give any limitation here. I can give some limitation as well here, and it will always increase by, if I write k plus plus, that means it will be, I'm using this comment, so it will be k equal to k plus 1. So right now what is k value? So k value is a 0. Here we have 0, and it will be increment by a 1 1 1. So my value will be coming is a equal to 0 plus 1. So it will be equal to now 1. It will incremented by 1. Next time again it will run. It will be now k is a 1. So again my formula will be k equal to is 1 now, and again plus 1. So my output will be a k equal to 2. Now I'm having it actually here k. So again it will run for a equal to 2 plus 1. So it will increment. It will increment by 1 1 1 actually. All right. So that's why I have used k plus plus. So this k plus plus means k equal to k plus 1, and first value k is 0. So it will be 1 2 3 4 5 6. It will go like that. But there's no limitation I have given here. I can give here like okay, k should be less than 10 or greater than 10. I can give condition here, but I'm not giving any condition here as of now. I just want to see the limitation of object, how many object I can create. Okay, so what I can do, I can just copy this. I will say new, and I will give the class name, and that's it. Done. And I will say, just see how many it will create. I will say no, I will keep, because I have used here. What will happen? First time it will start running, and it will come here. First it will say, okay, k equal to 0. And we have to increment this by a 1. So it will come here. K will be printed here. Okay, so it will be initially it will be 1. Again, focus will go here. It will say, okay, now k is my 1, and 1 plus 1 2. It will print 2. Again it will go there. It will be 3. It will be 4. It will be 5. Because I have not given any condition that when it should it should be stopped, it will keep running. All right, so let's run now. your object is creating. This is the number. There is no limitation actually. You can create many number of objects. It's keep creating objects. So there is no limitation. You can create a number of objects for your class. See, I have to stop it forcefully from here actually. I have to terminate actually. Otherwise it will not off. It will off. It will stop working here when your memory is full. Okay. So that will be out of memory actually. You will be getting a message that out of memory. There's no space left actually. And then it will stop. So I will just terminate this from here. All right. Stop now. So this is how it works. So if someone asks you that, okay, how many objects you can create number of objects for any class. Okay. I'm just printing K here. Why? Because to just show you that, numbers count here. It will keep increment. So if you just go here, let me see. So it will be for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that actually. And okay. So this is how it will work. All right. Apart from this, so we just saw this one and okay. All right. So now, okay, we have objects cover. How we can create the object. What are the primitive, non-primitive? What are the in primitive? What we have here, which is defined by the program, and reference variable which is defined by the programmer. Okay. How we can create the object. Suppose I don't want to create the object. I still want to access my data member and method. How I can access them. So this all things we have seen all. Now come to another thing here. So let's say I will remove my this for loop. All right. All right. So what we can do here, what I said here that, if suppose, okay, this just for your reference that, using a static keyword, you can access all your method and data member without creating an object. But I'm just removing that static here for now. Okay. All right. So now, and I'll be creating an object of this class. So it's data, or I will say DDD, any name you can give here. There's no rule as such, but it's always good to give a meaningful name actually. All right. All right. So now, there's a keyword here. We have used void. So void all will not return any value. When I say it will not return any value, only it will just print whatever it's there. Now let's talk about the first of all method actually. So what is method? So just say if I just want to write something here, or if I just want to print something, hello, and I want to print, this is my requirement that I want to print my hello around 20 times or 10 times. All right. I will have to write again and again, right? This is the way which I can do. Or if I don't want that, I can do one thing. I will copy this one. I will put it here in my method, and I'll be accessing this this is the beauty of a method actually. So because I am not using a static here, I have to create the object. Okay. So object will be, I just remove that actually. So object will be t equal to new, or this one. All right. So this is my object. I want to access this. I just want to write all, hello, hello 10 times. So I can directly say t dot this. That's it. So this is the one-time activity. So a method is a set of code which we have under a method actually. Okay. If I write this one time, I can call it, I can call this method anywhere in my program. I don't need to write again and again 10 times. Suppose I want to write, I am having multiple classes here, and I want to write hello, hello in every class. So it's not a good idea to just go and write every time hello, hello there. I can just have one method. I'll be writing hello there. Whatever condition, whatever operation I want to do, I can do in that method, and I can just simply call this, and it will work for me. Unnecessarily, why I should write hello, hello for every class, right? So this is the good way, right? You can directly call this method. I'm calling this, right? I'm just writing a display, and I'm using a reference variable and it's calling. This is the one. But this is not returning any value. What I want actually, I want this should return some value. This method should return some value, and I want to use that value in some other program or in some other yes, in some other variable actually. So what you have to do? So for that, we have to use a return type. So when I say return type, all right. So what I can do here, let me explain you here. So let's say if you are here, all right. So let's say if you are doing 5 plus 4, which is 9. I want this 9 use somewhere else. And I want to do that, I just want to do 9 plus 4, it will be 13. That's what I want to do, right? I want this 9 output. I want output of this 5 plus 4, which is 9, and want to use this 9 somewhere in some different method actually. So I need to return a value, but it will not return a value. You will not able to do, let's say if I do like this, it will give you error actually. So let me do it. So what I can do, I can create one variable here. Store anything, store any value, we need to create a data type. So I want to store anything actually, any value, we need this data type. If I want to store a long value, I need this long data type. If I want to store false value, I need a Boolean data type. So I want to store this value. Something is coming here. We are having this so many hello, right? In that, I want to store this in one variable. So I will say integer, and I will say, I can give any name, J. All right. So this is the one variable I created here, which is an integer type. Okay. And I will say J equal to, it will give you error. Let's see what is the error. See, it's saying quick fix change return type. This is not a return type. This is the void here we have used. So to return something, we have to use some return type method actually. We have to use a return type method here. So for that, what we can do, instead of writing void here, we have to use a return type. So let me do one thing. Let me remove everything from here. All right. So I will give any name. I can give any name, right? So I can give sum here. Now we are dealing with sum. Sum is my method name. Okay. And instead of this void, I can say, if I talk about this one, integer, it's returning 9. 9 is a very small number, right? I can hold this number in integer, right? Because this is a very small number. If I'm talking about the very big number, then I have to use a long here, right? If I'm talking about the decimal number, I have to use a float number or data type, right? But I know this is a very small number, right? I know, like, I can handle this value in integer as well. So I will be writing integer. Got it? So now I can give any name here. Again, it's saying when you are having integer data type, because you want to return, and this value is integer value, right? This is not a decimal, right? We are not using decimal here, and there's no this value is not a long value. So this value is not having decimal, this value is not a long value, then I can store this, I can have this value in an integer. All right, till here clear. If I come here, it will give you error. There is an error here. So what it's saying, if you are using a integer int as a return type, then you have to use a add return statement. Otherwise, change it to void. Otherwise, you have to change it to void, or you have to change it to, you have to add a return type. So if I say void, it will not give you any error. So there's no error here. But if you write any data type, which is a primitive data type, right? If you use any data type, it will give you error, and then you have to click on add statement, add return type actually. So it will be return. We need to return something. Then we will get right 9. We need something, right, to return from this method. So if it will not return anything, then we'll not able to hold, or will not able to store that value in some or in different data type. So what I can do, so let me remove this one. I will say Okay, so it will let's add return statement, and I'll say here all right, I'll be creating one variable data type here, so which is a primitive data type or primitive variable. So if I say sum or sum plus, I'll be creating that's fine, leave it. So I'm creating a data type. The name of data type is sum1, okay, which is an integer. Okay, it can only hold without decimal value and a small value. So but I didn't assign anything here. Actually, I didn't give any value here so far. Okay, so right now there's no value in that. If I write equal to something here equal to 10, then this variable will be holding a 10. But right now I'm not holding anything. I'm just creating one type. So now what I have to do here? So it's empty actually. It's a 0 right now. You can say like this. It's not having any value. So what I can say here, I can say sum 1 equal to, okay, I can say 5 plus 4, and that's it. So it's saying 5 plus 4. The value will be 9, and 9 will come to sum. So now sum is having a 9 here. Okay, so this is having a 9 here. So instead of this one, I can say we want to return this actually. So it will be none. So this method is done, and this method is a return type method because we have used here integer. Okay, so now what I can do, I can say here e dot, what is the method name? Sum. I will say sum, and it's a sum down one. This is the method, right? This is the data type. I want to use a method, so this is the method, and let's say here it's done. So now your 9 is now here. So now j is having 9. J is an integer, and now j is having a 9 here. And if I print here, if I say system.out.println, if I say j, it will print you. Let's print here. 9 is printing because 9 is coming from this method, and now we have assigned 9 to j variable. Okay, so now this, because of this, but if I use void here, if I say void, it will give you error. It will not return a value. But if you want integer, it will return a value. It will return a value here. So now it's 9. What I can do here is I can say I can create one more variable here, which is a sum2. Okay, it's up to me. I can create multiple variable here. So if I say sum2 equal to j, which is 9, right now it's 9, and I can say 10 more. I will add 10 more in that. So if I print this one, now j is 9, and I have given there 9 and 10 is 19. So if I run this, you'll be getting 19. So this is what I said. If I really want an output of this one, I have to use a method which is return type. It's returning value. If you use void, it will not return a value. Here you can use anything actually. If you want to use float, you can use float. If you want to use long, you can use long. If you use void, it will not return a value. Right? So yeah, this is the thing actually which we have. So method is like, it can be void, it can be return type as well. Based on our requirement, we have, let's say I want to use that output in different with the different variables in different method. I have to make that method as a return type actually. Okay, so now if you have any question, yeah, we can discuss that now. Hello?
Yep, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, so any confusion, any doubt you have, you can ask me.
Yeah, I think we just have to play around with it to just get
Yeah,
the
I think we have to play around to get it. Just listening and learning is, it's easy when you run it, right?
Right.
So
So
we are
yeah,
not even created any programs yet. And in fact, we are struggling to get one program to run on Eclipse. So
no. So watch my video, try to do it. If I'm creating here some method, you try to create more than 1 or 3 or 4 methods. Do it your own. If you have any doubts, we'll definitely figure it out.
Yeah,
I
and
think
but this is a proposal. Maybe tomorrow, we can just do the similar example as you did just now, right? 5 + 4, right? And then 9 + 4. We can do our own, just to get familiar with it. And I think that will just give us a boost once, we'll get this handle on, all this
No,
gap.
so so just what you can do, you try your own first of all.
Right.
If you are okay with that, then there's no issue, right? If you have issue, then definitely we'll look into that. Yes.
I'm having Eclipse issues though.
It's still.
Yeah.
Can you show your screen? Can I see that? What is the issue?
Some kind of build and everything is done.
Let me allow you to just show me that. No?
So I don't have any programs to run right now. I have to start from scratch, right?
All right. Okay. Okay. Then just try and then let me know if that is working or not. Because see, we have covered so many things today. So I want you to just familiar with everything, so that before going to any automation and all that, we should know, if I'm talking about primitive variable, then what is the primitive? If I'm talking about the reference variable, what is the reference variable? Okay, if class, what class is that? Class is what is class? What is object? How many objects we can create? Okay, so you should know all this actually. Then yeah,